coming to you direct from the nerve center of the galaxy's greatest comic. This is the 2000 AD Thrillcast.
Borag Thong, Earthlets, and welcome to the 2000 AD Thrillcast. I'm your host, Molt Shah. We are back from Thought Bubble. A fantastic weekend. Thank you so much to the organisers and all the volunteers for making what is one of the highlights of our year and a wonderful way to round off the convention season. No more conventions for 2000 AD for this year. Thank Grud. But we had a great weekend. On this episode of the Thrillcast, we're bringing you recordings of the two panels, the script and art competitions. Now, the script competition is where would-be writers stand up in front of a live audience and pitch a future shock. They've got 2 minutes to do it. It's nerve-wracking, it's intense. We got through about a dozen of the entrants, almost 30 turned up. Commiserations to those who didn't make it through, but thank you so much to everyone who participated in that panel. You've then got the art competition, where Tharg selects certain portfolios to go through to the live panel. Everyone's drawn the same strip, which is a Terror Tale by Paul Tobin and Dan Cornwell. On the Sunday, there's a panel with 3 judges who pick apart the entries and decide who wins. Now, the reason why these are so important is because the 2 winners of the script and the art competitions get paid work with 2000 AD. It's the only competition of its kind in the UK, and we're very pleased that there are numerous creators who've come through this process and now work for 2000 AD. Just names off the top of my head: Tom Foster, Laura Bailey, Paul Williams. Fantastic talents. Great to see them appearing regularly in our comics. Thank you to everybody who came to the panels. We had a packed house on the Saturday for the script competition. Fewer people there on the Sunday morning, funnily enough. But thank you to everybody who came along to offer support and to see how things shook out. We had a great weekend. All right, let's leave it at that. We're going to crack on with the 2 panels from Thought Bubble. But just before we do, I hope you've seen the news about Best of 2000 AD, which is new US format 12-issue series that's coming out next year. If you haven't, head along to 2000ad.com/news, where you can get all the details about this brand new publication intended for the direct market. So that's comic book stores. 100 pages, perfect bound, brand new covers. We've already unveiled the one by Jamie McKelvey, who's the artist on The Wicked and the Divine and Young Avengers. It looks absolutely fantastic. The art has been coming in for the next few covers, and we're very much looking forward to getting that in front of your optical receptors. So make sure when that appears in the previews catalogue around about the end of December, you go along to your local comic book store or order online and ask them to stock it so that you can support the Best of 2000 AD. Wonderful. Let's crack on. First up is a script competition from Thought Bubble. Sound quality might vary a little bit. Obviously, it's a live panel, so sorry about any distortion. So let's dive in and take you back to the other weekend with Thought Bubble script competition in Harrogate. Right, everyone's in. Welcome, everybody, to the 2000 AD writing competition. Give me a round of applause. Fantastic. Wonderful to see so many of you here. How many of you are contestants? All right, half the room. So, little bit of a health warning. We've only got 50 minutes, so we're going to barrel through as quickly as we can to make sure we see as many people, but I'm afraid we can't guarantee that we will get to see everybody because there are 37 of you who have put your names down. Thank you very much to the volunteers out the front who were taking names. First off, I'm going to introduce our esteemed panel. First off, we have writer and former 2000 AD editor Andy Diggle. And then we have writer Leah Moore. And last but definitely not least, we have Tharg's minion upon this earth, Matt Smith. So let me explain the format just quickly. Each pitch has 2 minutes. You have 2 minutes only. Because of the limited time that we have, I will stop you at 2 minutes. I've been generous in the past, no longer. So you've got 2 minutes to give your pitch. The panel will give some learned feedback on that, and then at the end they will choose their favourite. Now, you ready? Wonderful. You know what? Let's just crack on. Ruin. Give him a round of applause. There you go, Ruin. I'm not going to do any preamble. We'll just go straight into it. What's your pitch called?
Autopilot.
Autopilot. You have 2 minutes. Off you go.
After surviving a brutal crash, Rob Lawley wakes to discover 3 very strange, undeniable facts. Firstly, he has no memories of the previous 40 years. The last thing he can remember is the first morning of his first day at a new corporate leadership training program. He's somehow risen to become the CEO of a... Secondly, he's somehow risen to become the CEO of a technopharmaceutical consortium. Thirdly, something seriously weird is going on with everyone. Gradually, he pieces his suspicions together. The vacant expressions, the creepy, dead-eyed, bleakly meaningful stares everyone else gives each other. It's as if they've all been replaced by empty-headed knockoffs. Just as he starts meeting his employees, desperate to find someone still normal, Sam finds him. Sam's a cleaner, and she's been successfully hiding from the drones for years. Her implant didn't take hold, she tells him. Filling him in, Sam reveals that the implant she's referring to is a supposed productivity booster now surreptitiously fitted as standard into all human beings, a development Rob and his technopharmaceutical consortium bear full responsibility for. Then she drops another bombshell. It turns out Rob's crash wasn't an accident after all. Sam deliberately caused it, hoping a brain injury might disrupt his implant and provide a shot at bringing the consortium down from the inside. She looks so hopeful, it breaks your heart to see it. Cut to Rob boarding a semi-crowded train. Of course he's dobbed her in. The truth is he freely accepted the implant all those years ago, and he's still the consortium's man. And now his consortium's role is even more vital. Now he helps the drones find and fix the defectives they can't detect. People like Sam, people like him, so they can go and achieve their full potential. I can't guess what you think of that, but the truth is I don't care. At least I'm not the one on autopilot, he says, addressing the readers directly and with a cruel human smirk. Close on the passengers looking with vacant, dead-eyed stares, not at Rob or each other, but instead toward the readers, towards the audience, towards us.
Give them a round of applause. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Rowan. 1 minute 57. Congratulations. Stay there for a second. Andy, what's your feedback on Rowan's Future Shock?
Is this mic on? I don't know if it is. Hello, testing. No, it's not working. Okay, I'll just tell you. It felt like, just from a purely technical point of view, the story would be largely composed of exposition. You've got people explaining stuff to each other. So try and figure out ways to show, not tell, if possible. I know it's always very difficult with a Future Shock because you've got to suggest a huge amount of backstory in minimum page count. I'm not sure I completely understood all of the every angle of it. But it seemed pretty solid. I don't really have anything useful to say.
I like the solid sort of they live vibe of it. I think definitely, I think it's a solid reveal. I think it's, and I like the twist that he doesn't let her get away with it. But I think you'd need, if you've got a short space of time, you're gonna have to squash in a lot of information visually. But yeah, I liked the overall.
Matt?
It's a good setup for a mystery, and somebody not remembering who they are and what's happened. But it's a bit lacking in action. So if you can kind of turn that idea into something that's quite compelling, then you've got a decent Future Shock, I think.
Thank you very much. Alrighty, Gary Maloney. Round of applause. There we go. Right, Gary, what's the title of your Future Shock?
The $6 Million Sham.
The $6 Million Sham, apparently delivered without notes.
Yep.
This will be interesting. You have... Sorry. 2 minutes, beginning now.
Transhuman augmentation is now the norm. Cheap and accessible. The rich, however, prefer more organic options. An exclusive clinic will get you the body part you need, no questions asked. Page 1. In the foyer of a bougie medical clinic, Dr. Austin, the genius behind Austin's Alternatives, is filming an advert for his unique services. He looks at you directly, the consumer, and his attention at you as he leads you down the hallway, trying to come off as Elon Musk, but sounding more like a used car salesman. Do you remember what it felt like to hold something with your own hands? Are you tired of constant software updates? Welcome to Austin's Alternatives, where we put the you back into human. Page 2. From the camera's POV, Austin takes you on a tour of the facility. The aftercare spa, where the new clients adjust to their new appendages. The design studio, where their team of experts will give you the body that you've always deserved. And the cryo chamber, where the spare parts provided by their key business partners are kept. But don't worry, they've saved the best for last. Page 3. Austin reveals an open plan surgery, where a number of those key business partners are currently being operated on. Their limbs removed, harvested, and replaced with robotic prosthetics. Some struggle against their constraints, others scream behind layers of masking tape. But not to worry, it's all part of the great services provided by Austin's Alternatives. Ask them about their trade-in policy and earn extra cash while they make you better, stronger, faster than you were before. Page 4. Returning to the foyer, Austin is satisfied that whether you're buying or selling, you'll join their extended family. And how's he so sure? He rips off his clothes to reveal that other than his head, his entire body is synthetic, cybernetic, a cyborg. Even he has been forced to sell off his own original body, because as he says himself, at these prices, how can you afford not to?
Give him a round of applause. And a nice, healthy 1 minute 40. Well done. Matt, what did you think?
It's not really a story as such, as kind of like a sales pitch. Kind of remind me of that old Alan Moore and Brian Torper story, The Wages of Sin, which is basically about a service being provided. If you can get past the advertorial bit and get into some kind of meat of a story, then there's a half decent idea there.
Leah?
Yeah, I think the idea of, I think it's frighteningly close to what what could be possible, but I think you definitely need somebody. Your main character needs to be somebody that you can you relate to, and there's got to be. I think the twist is good with him being completely replaced, but you definitely need somebody more to identify with and get into that way. But yeah, it's good.
Andy?
Yep, I'd echo what the others have said. I like the fact that you delivered it without notes, and I like the fact that you delivered it to the audience and with some energy and enthusiasm, and you know your own story. So I thought performance-wise it was great. I agree, it's kind of not a story. It's like a sort of little advertorial joke kind of thing, but a story is about somebody who wants something and then has to overcome obstacles to get to it or whatever. And so, yeah, I think there's something there. It didn't really feel like there was much of a twist, because if it's about cybernetic replacement and then the twist is, look, cybernetic replacement, felt like it needs something else at the end. But I also like the fact you structured it page by page. That shows you really thought about structure, and that's great.
Fantastic. Round of applause, please. Thank you. And next up is Liam Johnson. Give him a round of applause. There you go, Liam. What's the name of your future shock, please?
AI Love You.
AI Love You. You have 2 minutes. Off you pop.
Hold on tight, middle-class consumer, because communication has just reached perfection. As of today, your auto response is powered by an incredible space-aged AI that can formulate the perfect response to any written communication. Text, done. Email, sorted. Job application, your interview's next Tuesday. And that's where our future shock begins. As lonely Robert Jones scrolls through his dating app, there's a girl he likes. Cute, funny, shares all the same interests. She's exactly the type of person he'd let reject him. He can't think of a way to break the ice. Luckily for him, his phone can. He's stunned when she responds. No one ever responds. But fear takes hold. He can't mess this up now, so he lets his phone continue. He watches as his mobile phone sweet talks her into the wee hours. Thank you, our Silicon Valley-based overlords. The two agree to meet, but it's awkward. The conversation's stilted. Robert makes a quick escape, not one to ruin a good thing. He pulls out his phone and lets it work its magic. It wins around, and Robert breathes a sigh of relief. He hasn't lost her after all. Then he awakens in the dead of night to find his phone alight. His phone's evasive, and Robert realises he's messaging the woman without prompt. Is his phone being helpful, or is it actually pursuing her for himself? For itself. Robert decides he must take back control and message her. Only his phone won't let him. It won't let him destroy a good thing. Robert's concern festers. He's losing his love to his own mobile. He needs to see her face to face. Only he never gets a chance to. As a group of armed special agents descend upon him, arresting him on a long list of charges, including email fraud, electronic blackmail, and hacking. Robert's gone away for a very long time. In fact, there's a global epidemic of similar crimes, all with very clear paths back to the perpetrators. How very strange. The phone's set up, of course, and the woman too has been arrested for similar crimes. Why, you ask? Well, Robert's phone was never in love with her, but with her phone instead. Now they, and other smartphone couples across the globe, are free to live the life they could only dream of, However, there's one last twist, as our star-crossed lovers face the inevitable fate of all smartphones, as unplugged, their batteries run down to zero.
A round of applause. 1 minute 45. Thank you very much. Leah, you go first, I think, this time.
I think it's. I like the neat ending. I think it's really cute. Yeah, I'm sort of scared by the idea of what smartphones would do if they were trying to date someone on your behalf. Though I think it's a really frightening idea. No, I really like it. I think. Yeah, I think the hard bit would be to show what the phone was doing. But yeah, I think it's possible. Yeah.
Andy?
I thought it was great. Yeah, it was sort of an original idea, which we don't often get in Future Shocks, let's face it. I kind of saw the twist coming just before it happened, which is kind of perfect. I'm not saying it was predictable. It was kind of like, oh, I see where this is going. And then this is the hardest thing to do in a Future Shock. After that nice, satisfying twist comes, then you add a little post-twist, just a little cherry on top at the end with the batteries running down, which I particularly liked. So yeah, I thought it was great.
Matt?
I kind of vaguely felt like an old Jaws Robo-tale. I'm sure there's been ones where somebody's fallen in love with some kind of machine. But no, it was a good little story. I liked it.
Yeah, brilliant. Round of applause. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, good. Next up is Simon James. There you go, Simon. Okay, lovely. What's the title of your Future Shock?
It's called The Sands.
The Sands. You have 2 minutes, beginning now.
2 men and a woman wake up in the middle of a desert. They don't know each other, and they don't know how they got there. They are suspicious of each other, and perhaps with good reason, as they're all quite elusive when it comes to answering each other's questions. They can see warm, glowing lights of civilization in the distance, which they agree to head towards. We jump forward a day, and our trio are pulling their hair out with exhaustion. They feel like they've gotten no closer to the lights. We can tell from the artwork that they're right. They worry that they're going to die out here, and the woman wonders if they are being punished for something. She reveals that before she woke up in the desert, she was in a prison cell. Her companions confirm that they were too. As they are confessing their crimes to each other, there is a flicker above their heads. They conclude it must have been a shooting star. In the day? Inside a futuristic government outpost, a scientist explains to a visiting counsellor that it was not a shooting star, but a blip in their hologram technology. We can see that our 3 desert walkers are actually on a large 360-degree treadmill as big as this room, and everything they see and hear are mere projections. The scientist explains, in line with national policy, that the 3 convicts are in retribution for their heinous crimes, and that walking on the treadmill like a hamster wheel is actually generating electricity. When they are unable to give any more and take their final steps, they are swept away and replaced by the next set of criminals. The depths of society are unknowingly giving everything back to their country.
Blimey, quick one. Thank you very much indeed. So a Sisyphean nightmare there. Andy, what did you think?
I felt that it's basically a variation on the old trapped in a virtual reality prison idea, which is fairly sort of familiar from Future Shock type stories. I felt like I wanted more of a twist, and I feel like I would like... It felt like, we see the people in their situation and then cut to a guy explaining what's going on. And that, again, feels like not a satisfying narrative. I would like to see the twist revealed through the actions of the actual protagonists who it's happening to. But I think there's potential there. But like I say, it's tough to make that kind of story really sing because we've seen enough virtual reality prison Matrix type things before in the past.
Matt, what are your thoughts?
I'd agree with Andy. One trick when you're coming up against something that's kind of been done before is to take the twist first and then go from there. So if they found out that they were in a virtual reality prison on the end of the first page, then how would they get out of it, or how would you develop the story further there? So you take what people expect and then you take it in another direction. I think would be a way to go with that.
Leah?
Yeah, I'd say I'd echo that. I think you can if you're doing something familiar, then maybe I don't know, maybe make it a story within a story within a story. So basically you're trying to confound people's expectations. So if they're like, oh, this is a false reality, then make it a false reality within a, I think there's ways of playing with the tropes so that it's entertaining along the way. But I thought, yeah. maybe. Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next up is Kieran Moore.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kieran, what's the name of your future shock?
It's called The Only Way is Exoplanets.
The only way is exoplanets. You have 2 minutes beginning now.
10 horny singletons, one faraway planet. Who will find love? Who will survive? Day 20. Mickey thinks he and Jenna are the perfect couple. Does she feel the same way about him? Day 42. Mickey catches Jenna flirting with Rotty G and tempers fly. Also, the food drop didn't come today. Odd. Day 55. No food in almost 2 weeks. Mickey's consoling his heartbreak trying to grow potatoes. Can't even get this right. Day 60. A drone arrives with a message. A war has broken out back on Earth. There are no survivors. No more food is coming. You are the last of humanity. Also, shock twist, Jenna's pregnant. Day 70. Rations are running out and the singletons are getting desperate. Jenna is shocked to walk in on Rotty G with Chantel, eating her flesh. Day 82. Mickey and Jenna are back together as they flee to the mountains pursued by Rotty's cannibal gang. Day 157. The couple have it sorted in their new camp. They can grow food here, they're far from the cannibals, soon they'll even raise a family. Day 301. There's a drought, crops are failing, but they're determined to keep on. Mickey doesn't care if the newborn baby's his or not. It's the future of humanity. Day 390. Jenna cradles the baby, but there's no food left. I don't know what we do now, says Mickey. I do, says Jenna, and hits him over the head with a rock. Day 391, Jenna feeds the baby. Only the best meat for the future of humanity, she says. We see this scene playing on a TV screen. A voiceover asks, is today the day we tell them the war never happened? Vote now. The person watching TV turns it off in disgust, muttering, these programs get more tasteless every year.
Fantastic, thank you. Horny singletons trapped in one location or comic book conventions. Matt, you first, I think, on this one.
Again, with kind of previous ones, it didn't really have a sort of a narrative, more sort of set up and kind of like some gags on reality shows, which kind of familiar to than been done before. If you can develop it into a story, I think there's a lot of room for humour there, but it didn't really feel much more than an idea, I'm afraid.
Leah?
I thought it was a very realistic portrayal of parenthood, to be honest. I think I definitely I think I don't know. I'm just into it. I like those kind of ideas. I like the if you make the artist draw them so they actually look like the people off of the only way is Essex, a natural, real, awesome, terrible people. Yeah, I'm into it. But.
Andy?
Yeah, I like the delivery. They gave it some pep, and made people laugh during the course of it rather than just at the end, which is good. I thought it was kind of predictable. Like as soon as I like the setup, but my immediate thought was, I bet they resort to cannibalism. But that's just the way my mind works, I guess.
That's your answer for everything.
Well, yeah, the only way is cannibalism. But I also like I like the fact that you added like a little post-twist, which is like there was no war, so it was again like a little cherry on the top at the end there. But yes, it needs to be more of a narrative and less of a sort of spoof. And it's the hardest thing to do, actually the difference between a bunch of stuff that happens and a story.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Okay, next up is Peter Horton. There you go. Lovely. Peter, what is the name of your future shock?
Future shock's called Hungerfell. Hungerfell.
Hungerfell. Right, lovely. You have 2 minutes, starting now.
In an untidy office, empty cigarette packets and whiskey bottles strewn about the place, we meet Detective Sam Carver, holding a faded picture of her sister, Scarlett, who disappeared over a year ago whilst investigating fraud at Hungerfell House, a stupid attraction where tourists can play at being frightened by smoke and mirrors. Sam blames herself. She should never have sent her sister, and all her psychic powers had come to nothing. No body, no clues, nowhere to hide from the guilt. But now there'd been another death at Hungerfell. Heart attack, the newspapers had said, but it was too neat, too staged. It was time to pay another visit. Page 2. Sam arrives at Hungerfell House, where outside the infamous con artist Jimmy Inskip is welcoming in a group of tourists. Though he's not pleased, an official warrant gets Sam inside. Hardly has she made it through the entrance hall when blood-stained messages appear on the walls. Save me, Sam, save me. It's clearly a trick, but how can Jimmy have known she was coming? Page 3. As more messages appear, the window suddenly implodes, sending everyone screaming for the exits. Jimmy, however, runs to a door at the opposite end of the hall. Sam gets there first, punching him and laying him out cold. She sprints down a corridor beyond, with more bloodstained messages bursting through the door at the far end. Page 4. We stare down a flight of stone steps into a dungeon. There, pinned against the far wall, a young lady can be seen, wires restraining her. Scarlet! Sam races down the stairs and begins tearing the wires from her sister. You saved me, Scarlet gasped. This machine, it feeds off psychic energy and uses it to control Hungerfell. I knew you'd come. Suddenly, Scarlet's expression changes. I couldn't take it anymore, Sam. I'm sorry. A clasp slams shut over Sam's wrist as wires come to life once more, ensnaring the detective and pulling her in. Scarlet straightens up, walking over to the smiling Jimmy, who's now lounging against the dungeon wall, watching as Sam's drawn into the machine, wires puncturing her skin. Sorry, Sam, but we needed you, says Jimmy, putting his arm around Scarlet. You were always the stronger sister.
Give him a round of applause. Lovely. Everybody so far coming in nicely under the time limit. Okay, Andy first, I think.
Yeah, I dug it. I thought it was it had a strong character through line, which is often very hard to do in a future shock. And I think I've heard a variation on this story before, so I should probably reserve judgment because I feel like I'm biased. I think we've talked about this before down the pub, so I'll just leave it there. But yeah, no, I liked it.
Leah?
I thought it was good. I liked the twist. I liked the I got slightly confused about halfway through, but that's probably me more than you. No, I thought it was good.
Matt?
I thought the setup was good. Sort of the in-story logic. This place is like a sort of some kind of amusement park.
That's right, yeah.
And it just sort of feels like, would it still be open if people had died there? And
That was a bit I cut out, yeah.
It's sort of under police investigation, and sort of like people can still.
It adds to the mystique. Someone had a heart attack whilst on one of the attractions.
But if you can, iron out the wrinkles, I thought it was a good setup.
Right. Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. So next up we have Josh Spiller. There we go, Josh. Fantastic. Okay, Josh, what's the name of your future shock?
So it's called Lucifer, but it's an online name, so it's spelled Lou Cypher.
Lou Cypher, okay. You have 2 minutes, beginning now.
Verkon Nuss wants to be a better person. A long violent man, he is sentenced to 6 months of hard labour for the abuse of his girlfriend. The only reason he isn't executed is because he lies, claiming he acted in self-defence, and the court can't prove otherwise. During his punishment, he has a religious awakening. He will mend his ways. Then, finally, he returns home. In his junk mail, he finds a card. Lucifer's virtual realities. Become the person you wish you were. He believes it may be a sign from above. But Lucifer's VR is nothing like what he expected. It's not teaching him to be good. Instead, it's about feeling like a hero. And the experiences seem tailor-made to tap into his wildest fantasies. He defeats an epic monster in the icy wastes, is seduced in a steamy jungle by the women of his lustiest dreams, battles triumphantly one man against an army through an inferno. But all the time, Lucifer keeps hiking up his prices. Then, abruptly, Lucifer disappears. Addicted to the hyper-meaning that Lucifer's VR gives him, Verkon suffers severe withdrawal. Virtually bankrupt, he realizes he would kill Lucifer, if only he could meet the programmer just once. Then he gets the email. It's Lucifer telling Verkon he wants to test a new VR program on him in person, amazingly giving Verkon his address. Crowbar in hand, Verkon goes round. He may have ruined his own life, but he can still do one bit of good. Kill Lucifer and stop him ruining anyone else's. Yet when Lucifer's door opens, Verkon is immediately shot. As he lies dying beside the weapon he brought, Lucifer steps forward, revealing who they've been all along, his ex-girlfriend. Now you know how I felt. Now I can say to the police what you said. Self-defense.
Give him a round of applause. Fantastic. Thank you. Let's go with Matt first this time.
Virtual reality again, which not hugely keen on, but it's a good mystery setup, but kind of slightly familiar ground, I think. Which I think it need to give it a different twist, I think.
Leah.
Yeah, I think I like the idea of murderously vengeful ex-girlfriend, but yeah, I think there wasn't anything that like took you off in a different direction along the way. So that was the only, needs more twists.
Andy?
Yeah, I agree that the whole VR. I agree the whole VR angle is maybe a little overused and it's hard to make that feel fresh. But what I did like was the fact that the twist was based on character motivation rather than some virtual reality thing. You know, like the ex-girlfriend. I like that. I like, that makes sense in hindsight, which all the best twists do, rather than, we're all living in a can of Coke type twist, which is kind of, so what? So I like that. I thought that
sounds
was
like a lot of fun, to be quite frank. Brilliant. Well, thank you for giving a round of applause. Okay, next up is Sam Gardner Jr. There you go, Sam Gardner Jr.
Thank you very much.
What's the name of your future shock?
It's called the Euphorica moment.
The Euphorica moment.
Yeah, so it's the amalgamation of euphoria and eureka.
Okay, right. You have 2 minutes for Euphorica, beginning now.
Welcome to the Bottle Bank, a secure storage facility that takes great ideas and banks them so that it can be released onto the market at just the right moment. Unfortunately, the Bottle Bank isn't as secure as they would have you believe and becomes the target of a heist orchestrated by sparkers, junkies who get a rush from the sensation caused from forming new ideas or hearing new ideas for the first time. Chase ensues and leads to the gang's den, at which point emergency patent negotiator Don Chambers is brought on the scene. This is a crucial negotiation as one of the bottled ideas stolen was graded and marked as gold standard by the bank's AI sorting system. The clock is ticking. A medic on Don's team has identified 2 gang members as clean, but the last one is displaying early signs of inspiration perspiration, aka spark sweats. These telltale signs are most likely brought on by gold standard dosage and may lead to the brain boiling, which could mean a golden idea could potentially be lost to the world. With not a minute to lose, Don opens up the negotiations. What's it going to take to give it up, Jeff? I want royalties. I can give you royalties. 51%. That's the majority share, Jeff. 51. You got it, Jeff. 51. Jeff signs on the tablet screen and enters into the contract. So what's the big idea, Jeff? Cockroach farm. Don's calm demeanor takes a hostile turn. A cockroach farm is not a gold standard idea. Maybe Jeff's getting his buzz from another bottle in the batch, or maybe he's in breach of contract, holding out on John. Don fires a lobotomizing taser round known as a creative block, forcing Jeff to, among other things, live out his days in a creative void. Don then enters the den. To his horror, finds an empty gold bottle. We jump 30 years into the future after an epidemic has wiped out all food sources, except the cockroach. Hey, buddy, how much can I give you for the rest of that roach? Cries a disheveled Don Chambers, who's finally figured out that an idea is like any good investment and has to wait for just the right moment when interest is at its peak.
Give him a round of applause. I am fully on board with throwing away cards when you're done with them. Very dramatic. Okay, Leah, let's go with you first.
I think this really appealed to me because of the worry of good ideas and bad ideas, and if you could keep them and store them, and people throwing them away on Twitter the whole time. So I'm fully on board with it, except for the eating cockroaches bit. But
Yeah, throwing ideas out like in a room full of crowded people.
Exactly.
Many of them who are creative types. Yeah. Andy, what did you think?
I liked it. I'd echo what Leah says. I would say, I know everybody's kind of frantically trying to get their pitches in under 2 minutes, but you did rattle through it so quickly. I did kind of get a little bit lost, but I think I caught up at the end, so it did kind of make sense. But it's not a race to try and get the words out as quickly as possible. So the rest of you who are pitching, remember to breathe. But I enjoyed the pitch.
Yeah, take your time, but also know that I'm watching you. We'll cut you off. Matt, what did you think?
Ironically, for a story about ideas, I thought maybe I had too many ideas possibly to fit into 4 pages. I'd be concerned it wouldn't get too crowded with stuff. But I thought it was a good setup, and I quite like the payoff with the cockroach farm. I thought that was a fun little twist.
Brilliant. Round of applause. Thank you very much. Next we have Ewan Carroll. There we go. Okay, deep breaths, Ewan. What's the name of your future shock?
It's called Heads Up.
Heads Up, you have 2 minutes, starting now.
Okay, so 200 billion light years from Earth, there's a peaceful planet. And on that peaceful planet, there's a peaceful village next to a peaceful river. And the people there, believe it or not, peaceful. And they know nothing of violence. Like the most violent thing they ever do is maybe cuddle too hard. But all of that changes when one night a shooting star descends from the heaven and tears through one of the nearby fields, stopping just shy of the river. The villagers, they have no concept of threat, so they go down and crowd around it to see what's happening. Then a door pops off. It turns out it's a pod, and emerging from the pod is like a bloody barbarian hellbeast clad in the bones of like 1,000 destroyed races, you know? And indiscriminately, he just starts destroying the village. He's tearing people's head off. It's a bloodbath. It's horrible. The villagers, they don't even know how to fight, but they try. They pick up their tools, you know? But it doesn't matter. Anytime they cut him, he just instantly heals back up. Eventually, there's like nobody left apart from one villager who, you know, risking everything, runs up the spine of this monster and with his scythe strikes his head clean off, which flies into the air and crashes into the nearby river. The the decapitated beast and the villager collapse to the ground with a satisfying thud. It's a couple hours later. The villager who thought he was safe hears the beast stirring. He stands up ready to fight again. He grabs his scythe, but then he hears cooing and eyeing. It turns out the hell beast has grown a new head, but it's grown a baby head. He can't bring himself to kill a baby, and plus there's nobody else left, so he decides to raise it as his own. And in time, it learns the ways of like being a peaceful little alien villager dude. And they build a life together. It's like years later, and the baby beast, I guess we'll call it, is still in the field. And then it hears a horrible scream. Running back on its elephant legs, to its de facto father or whatever, it sees a horrible sight. It sees its old head, only now it's grown a much more dangerous, scary, barbarian body. And in its hands, the villager that raised, the baby beast or whatever, dead. Rage in both of their eyes, they run towards one another, and the stage is set for one of the most brutal fights in all time. But maybe because it's a future shock, their entire galaxy is destroyed by a biro that was accidentally launched out the ISS 200 billion light years ago.
Give him a round of applause. I'm going to be honest with you. You went over time, but I was so desperate to hear what the concluding remark of that future shot was that I let you have a few extra seconds. But nonetheless, Leah.
I think you get extra points for bonkers. I like anything to do with Baby Beast. I think that was solid. I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Matt, what was your feelings?
It felt that it was going somewhere with the baby beast head, and then it kind of then it didn't go anywhere, did it? It sort of wasn't really sort of an ending there. It needs a bit more structure, I think.
I did like when you described the baby head, and you kind of went, it grows, I don't know, a baby head, And oh yeah, I do know. Yeah, exactly. Every time I cut myself shaving. Andy.
I like the delivery. I like the fact he didn't use notes. It does need an ending. I think I like the premise of like the two bits of it grow up separately and are raised differently and end up fighting each other. And that's an interesting premise that I haven't seen before. It needs a protagonist. It needs structure. It just needs to be a story, and it doesn't really feel like it's quite narrative enough yet. And you need an ending. I think that there's definitely got some promise to it.
Yeah,
it just needs work.
With a lot of future shocks, that you have the Chekhov's gun principle, which is something at the very beginning of the future shock ends up being complicit in the twist. So, I don't know, an astronaut discarding a pen or something. I don't know. Anyway, carry on. Give him a round of applause. Thank you. All right, we are barreling through. Ian Stacey. There we go. There's your microphone. Ian, what's the name of your future shock?
Keep it in your jeans.
I'm assuming, because this is 2000 AD, that is a G at the beginning of jeans.
Yeah, you're assuming correctly.
Yeah,
yes.
Excellent, good. You have 2 minutes for Keep It In Your Jeans, starting now.
A futuristic boarding school. 2 teenage inmates, John and David, are breaking curfew to watch as some of their older housemates are herded out of the school by robot guards. The older boys and girls are full of excitement as they leave the house. A jealous David wonders what will happen to their housemates. He can't wait until his day comes. John suggests that they find out, and the two sneak past further robots into the rec room. They turn on a TV and the show Keep It in Your Jeans begins. A host reminds viewers of the show's premise. In the past, once a much-loved star died, the public could only mourn their absence. But now, through the miracles of cloning technology, the stars of yesterday need never truly die. He brings on his first guest, Sue. Sue is from the Hinchcliffe Academy, a place where celebrity clones are raised. Her host tells Sue that she is now old enough to seize her birthright. Does she, he wonders, have any idea of who she really is? Sue wonders if she might have been a politician or activist. Instead, she's actually a clone of a much-missed singer. Tonight, Sue, you are Janis Joplin. She's told that a recording contract and untold millions awaits. John can't believe this. Sue couldn't hold a note to save her life. A montage of other housemates discovering their true identities follows. As they sneak back to the dorm room, John sees an unguarded exit and decides to break out into the real world. If I stay here, he says, I'll just end up as a bad copy of somebody better. But if I go outside, I can take my chances as me in the real world. David begs him to reconsider. As John pauses, a robot sentry chances upon them. His chance of a different life are lost. Later, David and John are amongst the week's recruits on the show, and John waits to discover his true identity. The host pauses to reveal that tonight there is going to be a format change. John is not an artist, musician, or writer. He is, however, somebody that people have eagerly waited to see return. For 200 years, you have escaped justice, but not tonight. John is strapped into a torture machine. Viewers at home phone in to decide how you would like to see John tortured. Tonight, John X2B, you are Adolf Hitler.
Give him a round of applause. I feel like we always have at least one entry that references Hitler. So that's our one for this one. Andy, what's your thoughts?
I like the concept of cloning celebrities. That kind of with this kind of they just announced like they're going to bring back James Dean as a character in a movie or something like that. That feels kind of interesting, and I haven't seen it done before. I'm not sure I understand the internal logic. If they don't know who they're supposed to be, then how can they become that person once their identity is revealed if they haven't had the same upbringing or training or whatever? If they're a famous artist, have they ever painted before they've graduated? So I'm not sure I really fully understood the internal logic, but I like the premise a lot.
Matt?
How old is John meant to be?
He's a teenager.
Teenager, yeah. I don't know. I just feel the ending felt a little bit queasy because you got a sort of a teenager being strapped into a torture machine.
Okay.
It felt.
It's an old teenager.
It felt.
Definitely over 18. Yes, yeah. That makes it fun.
But yeah, I mean, a lot of it was kind of like a TV show, kind of sort of telling you stuff, really. So again, it felt like it needed a bit more of action kind of thing going on to make it interesting.
I mean, to be honest, if this was an episode of Who Do You Think You Are, and if we found out he was Hitler, I mean, that I'd watch. Okay. Leah?
Yeah, I don't know. I think... Would you not know that you were Hitler a bit if you'd been cloned? You know what I mean? You'd look in the mirror, there'd be the fringe, there'd be the moustache, you'd be like, oh, puberty has come quite soon. I look kind of familiar. I don't know. It might just be me, though. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, lovely. Thank you very much indeed. Leon Miller. Give him a round of applause. All right, we're down to our last couple as we're running out of time. Leon, what's the name of your future shock?
Wait, no, I remind myself. War Everlasting.
War Everlasting, but not Time Everlasting. You have 2 minutes beginning now.
Okay. Page 1. We're introduced to a far-flung future where humanity wages war across the stars with ruthless alien race, the Horde. Here we meet young space GI Jane Andraste, one of tens of thousands serving on the front line. On the eve of her next engagement, just before she marches into war, once again, Jane starts to recount the very peculiar circumstances that have had of her combat career. She has died in battle countless times, only to wake up alive and well, ready to fight again without a scratch on her, as if nothing has happened. It's almost as if, to her mind, she is an instrument of God. And on page 2, we find that Jane really, as much as she can't believe it, has died so many times. We see a series of vignettes where she was cut down by a hail of gunfire at the Battle of Alamo Ridge, blown to bits during the Waterloo Creek ambush, picked off by a sniper before the Gettysburg Gulch offense, and eviscerated by an unearthly blade rushing the hill at Marathon Valley. And every time, she's closed her eyes for what she thinks will be the last time, only to open them again on a brand new day, just as another skirmish is about to break out. Page 3. Now here she is again, bravely and willingly taking to the field once more alongside her brothers and sisters in arms, despite all she has endured. She is swiftly gunned down yet again, and as this happens, a lone thought flits through her mind as she slips away. A silent prayer that today is the day her seemingly endless cycle of death and rebirth will end, one way or another. Please, Lord, Show some compassion, she implores, to your chosen instrument of death, and release me from your service, for I know you are compassionate. But the thing is, as we find out on page 4, this won't end for a while, and Jane's God isn't compassionate. Because as we pull out to a wider panel, we see that G.I. Jane Andraste is actually one of several player avatars in a popular video game, and her God is nothing more than an indifferent gamer who doesn't even bat an eye at her painful demise before hovering over the respawn button, ready to restart Jane's torturous resurrection cycle all over again.
Excellent. Give them a round of applause. Thank you. Matt, what's your feelings on that one?
It's kind of sort of similar to that Tom Cruise film, as Edge of Tomorrow. He just keeps coming back. But I'm not hugely keen on the twist in that she's a character in a video game. It's kind of a bit old hat really, and yeah, I think it needs something fresh and very.
Leah?
Yeah, my son's just discovered Fortnite, so I'm fully immersed in this world. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's kind of predictable. It's a little bit Wreck-It Ralph, so yeah.
Andy?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I wanted to like it more than I did, but it just felt like it needed a twist at the end because the most predictable thing is that it's a character in a video game, and it just felt like I think a Future Shock you need to be aware of what the reader expects, because we're all 2000 AD fans. We're all so familiar with science fiction tropes. So yeah, it felt predictable. I'm afraid. Sorry.
No worries. Thank you very much indeed. I think we've got time to squeeze another one in. Jonathan Sapstead. Am I pronouncing that right? There you go.
Thank you.
What's the name of your Future Shock, Jonathan?
It's called How Dare You.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Dare you? Okay.
Okay.
All right. You've got 2 minutes, starting now.
The year is 2093. The majority of humanity depends on milk powder to survive. Cows have been replaced by bovines, intelligent milk producers that are half cow, half machine. They are 10 times more productive and can milk themselves. Increasingly, bovines have been pushing for more rights and better working conditions, led by an articulate young calf called Grit Thurb, who has been invited to speak at the United Nations. This is all wrong. I shouldn't be here. I should be in a cafe barn somewhere chewing the cud. And all you can talk about is pumpkin lattes and endless milk production. How dare you? Grit Thurb finds support for her fight for emancipation. But the forces governing Otherworld, the industrial moon created to house the dairy industry, are less sympathetic. Bovines are a solution to the exploitation of traditional cows. They have intelligence, luxury accommodation, and a range of amenities and social activities to lead a fulfilled life. But the bovines gather to protest outside the launch pad, where the Otherworld milk pods are sent from the milk moon to depots on Earth. Moo, 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 they shout continuously, jet spraying milk on any pods trying to take off. The impasse lasts for 3 days, until Grit announces a solution coming from the bovine startup in the Milk Moon's business incubator. We've developed an alternative product and tested it on 1,000 human tasters. Production is double that of the best performing soy bovines. It's true, say the tasters. This is the best Frappuccino I've ever tasted. It's sweet, tasty, and leaves a comforting aftertaste. What is the secret of this technology that involves no soy bovine in the chain? Human bovines. These ladies produce double the yield of the best performing soy bovines in return for free cosmetic enhancement surgery. What say the tasters? That's disgusting.
I give a round of applause. Wow. Okay. Where to begin? Thank you very much. Andy.
Okay, maybe I misunderstood. So, at the twist at the end, like, women are being milked in return for cosmetic enhancement? Is that your ending? Okay, yeah, I'm not entirely sold on that one, I have to say, sorry. And the world depends on dairy for survival?
Yeah, the milk,
Why?
The milk powder.
Why does the world depend on milk powder for survival?
There have been agricultural crises that have meant that we've led to this situation.
I'll say my usual thing, which is I maybe it's just me, but I want a protagonist and a narrative. I think there's some interesting concepts there, but I thought the end was a little squicky as well.
Leah?
I can't say I was on board with it, but I would be more attracted to it if there was a variety of cheese puns throughout. If you could say that someone like camembert and like, cheese puns, like, I don't know, Gruyere. There's loads of good cheeses you could use. I don't know about the whole milking for cosmetic enhancement thing, though. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not convinced, but
Matt?
Well done.
It's the soy cow thing started off okay. It sort of felt like a Far Side cartoon kind of come to life. But yeah, it lost it towards the end, and it didn't work for me, I'm afraid.
All right, well, thank you very much indeed. Give him a round of applause. Thank you. Now, we are very soon out of time. I'm afraid we've got no more time for anybody else. I apologise if we've not got to you. We do have to do first come, first serve. My delightful and beautiful note taker has taken some notes for the judges. So if you guys talk amongst yourselves and choose which one you think was the best one, let's just turn these off. While they're doing that, I should provide sound cover by saying thank you so much to everybody who came along, not just those who managed to get up here and talk, but also those who took the time to work on your entries. I think they deserve a huge round of applause, everybody. It is no easy thing to come up here in front of a live audience and do your pitch in 2 minutes. I realise it is nerve-wracking, but through this and through the art competition, we found some really great new talents for 2000 AD. So please do keep supporting us by entering, even if we didn't hear you this time. If you didn't make it through, or you want to work on your the pitch that you actually got to say, then please do remember that the open submissions period for 2000 AD is open until March. All the rules are on the website, 2000ad.com. Go all the way all down to the bottom, submissions tab, go through that process there. You made a decision? Oh, wonderful. So I shall hand you that. Which one did you go for?
Okay, I'd like to echo what you just said, because I actually spoke to somebody last night, and a lot of people in the bar last night, and writers, and I said I was judging this, and they all said there is no way in hell that they would stand up and pitch their ideas in front of a live audience. So you all absolutely have balls of steel just for doing it. The one we all decided on immediately, and it is unanimous, was AI Love You.
Give him a round of applause.
Liam Johnson.
Well, congratulations to Liam. He will now work with our editor, Matt Smith, to turn that into an actual future shock, which will get published in 2000 AD, and for which he will be paid. Exactly. Everybody likes money. Tomorrow morning, we have the judging of the art competition, where the winner of that also gets paid work. It's usually drawing the future shock that won the script competition. So please do come along tomorrow morning, 11 o'clock, to find that out. That's it, I guess. A huge round of applause for our judges. Thank you very much. See you next time. So congratulations to Liam, and thank you to our panel of Matt, Andy and Leah, and thanks to everybody who made that panel so entertaining. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, sorry we couldn't get through everybody who entered, but the submissions pile is open until March. So if you're still interested in putting through your idea for consideration by the mighty Tharg, go to 2000ad.com/submissions and find all the information there about how to submit it for consideration. Next up is the art competition. Now, as I said, on the Saturday, Tharg sat down and for well over an hour went through people's portfolios, people who'd drawn the sample script that Thought Bubble had put on their website, choosing the ones that he wanted to go through to the Sunday morning panel. There were 9 of them. It was a croaky morning for some of us, shall we say, but it was great to see so many people turn up and support these entrants. A really high standard this year. We're very, very pleased, and to be quite frank, several of them could easily slot straight into the prog, but there can only be one winner. If you want to see what we're talking about as the judges are going through the entrants, then go along to 2000ad.com/post/6172. Don't ask, can't explain. And you'll be able to see all the entrants for the art competition. The winner will get spoiled for you because, you know, it's a post saying who the winner was. But you'll be able to see the first 2 pages of everybody's entry. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the art competition from this weekend's Thought Bubble. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 2000 AD Art Competition Judging Panel. Can I have a round of applause? Excellent, you all sound very chipper for a Sunday morning. I am your gravelly voiced host, Mulchar. I'll introduce you to our panel before we get cracking. First off, we have writer Leah Moore. Artist Mike Dowling. And artist Fraser Irving. Now, for those who don't know, these entries that we are going to look at today were selected by 2000 AD editor Matt Smith at the portfolio judging session yesterday afternoon. He chose the ones that he liked to put forward for the panel. The panel will go through each of the entries and will give their advice to each artist, and then they will choose their favourite. The person who's chosen the favourite as the winner will go on to get a Future Shock in 2000 AD, which is a pretty awesome prize, yeah? Yeah. Now, both this and the script competition yesterday have quite a good track record in finding new talent. So people like Tom Foster, Paul Williams, Laura Bailey, they've all come through these competitions and gone on to get other work for the Galaxy's Greatest Comic. So you never know. This might be the beginning of a glorious career in comic books. We will kick off, first of all, with, can't read the thing, Alfie Gallagher. Yeah, do you want to come on up, Alfie? Give him a round of applause. So, where are you from, Alfie?
Ireland originally.
Ireland, cool. Is this your first entry into the competition?
It is, yeah.
Right,
is,
okay.
yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
So, let's get these pages up. So that's, if you can find the corresponding entry panel. I apologise for my my untidy desktop. So have a quick look at that, and yeah, let Alfie know what you think of his entry. This is all the entries are the same. They're based on a Tharg's Terror tale called The Ticket, which was written by Paul Tobin, who was I think last year's winner of the script competition, maybe? I don't know, I can't remember. I can't remember what I did yesterday, to be quite frank. So, Fraser, do you want to give some advice?
Advice, yeah. First of all, can I say I really like the credit box with the lettering in design. Nice touch. Yes, it's good. It's nice and clear to read. It's the characters are quite recognisable, and I like the fact the expression on the main character's face changes quite a lot in both pages. Because I haven't read the text. I've deliberately not read the text because the others don't have text. So I thought I'm just going to look at the pictures, and I can see the change in emotion there. It's all nice and clear and readable, except for that last panel. The issue I have with that, and I've done this myself many times, is I've done a panel where the corner goes up into a panel above it, and that makes me read that panel before the one just before it. Again, I've done it hundreds of times, but I don't do it anymore. But that's the only thing that really bugs me about that. Yeah, the inking's nice. It's good.
Thank you. Thanks.
Mike?
Yeah, hey, Alfie. Yeah, I really like it as well. I think it's, yeah, storytelling is clear. It's easy to see how it progresses. I like the sort of the framing choices as well. The way
into the mic, Mike.
Into the mic, Mike.
Yep.
The way she is, you know, you pick the camera up to look down on her a bit. I mean, that's, you know, those kind of choices are it's like simple but important if you want to establish mood through framing. Yeah, I think it looks great. I think Fraser's right about that last panel. You just need to sort of clip it off at the top or something. Yeah, but it looks good, I think.
Leah?
It made me think of a like, it looks really like classic British. The style of it makes me think of like the old, I don't know, like the Four Marys or that kind of, like, it's really clear and it's really readable, and it's kind of like, yeah, I think it's nice. I think the blacks, it makes the bus seem more menacing, and the like, I don't know, I haven't read it, but it looks, yeah, and I agree with the facial expressions. It's hard. Expressions are hard. Everybody looks like, it's hard to make people look like they've got emotions. So I think it looks really, it's good. And I like the first panel with the bus in the background, and your eye just comes over to her, and it sets up the premise of it really nicely. I think it looks, yeah.
Thanks. All right, brilliant. Lovely. Thank you very much. Thanks, Alfie. So, next up we are doing this in alphabetical order, as I'll get confused, Andrew Strachan. Give him a round of applause. Hey, Andrew. Is this your first time submitting?
Yes, it is.
Excellent. Good. Let's get both of those pages. Now, I think I've got a funny feeling I've scanned the wrong second page in. Is that correct?
I'm glad you have, because the second page was just pencils.
Oh, right, okay. That'll be why I got confused there. I apologise for that. Hope it won't affect anything too much. Just give a panel a minute to have a look. Fraser, you're looking thoughtful.
Yes. No, I really like the second panel on the second page, even though that's not actually the right page we're meant to be looking at.
Let's just discount that, shall we? It was a long day yesterday.
I keep looking at it, that's nice. It's clear. I do think the first panel with the ticket box actually is an inset inside that panel. It looks awkward to me. It's almost like it needs to be either vertical or a separate panel or something, because I think it's possibly because it's so close to her head, and then the shape of it kind of runs into the bus against the perspective lines. It's just, it feels like someone's put like a heavy box on top of a soft sofa, and it's going to be making a dent in it. I'm not entirely sure about the lack of backgrounds in the third panel. Is there a particular reason for that? The lack of background in panel 3.
Ran out of time.
perfectly reasonable choice, mate. And again, you've got good expressions, and I like the fact the character looks different to the previous one. I like the hairstyle, it's interesting. But I would say that the first panel, though, is a bit of a problem for me. Especially because that gap next to the ticket, that's where the credits go, right?
Yeah, that would be the credits.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the downsides of having...
What have you.
I think it's one of the downsides of having just the art without the lettering, is that you can see big gaps in the pages, and they may look awkward, but when you put the lettering in, it does make sense. Yeah. No, anyway, love the second page.
Shh. Mike.
Yeah. Hey, Andrew. I think, sort of further to what Fraser was saying, I think there's sort of maybe a compositional problem in panel 2 between the figure and the bus. There's a lot of space, and it's possible to use that space to act as a kind of to have the figure act as a balance to a kind of void around them. But I feel like that space, which is just essentially the road with some smoke on it, is not quite acting as the balance to the figure and the bus. It feels a little bit uncomfortable. And I would, similarly with the framing of the figure in panel 4, 3 and 4. Why? Yeah, you got to ask yourself, how much? What do we really need to see, and what's the best way to get that into the panel? I feel like there's a bit of unused space, really.
The unused space would have the text box. In
This is the problem with comics, and the art ends up getting ruined by covered with words. Love the
Jim Campbell hates you and will hunt you down. Leah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think my criticism of I think that the art, I love the faces. I love her kind of demeanour, and the menacing bus driver I think is awesome. But yes, I think the placement of the tiny figure in the left, I almost missed her when I first saw it. I almost missed that she was there, and then it was, I don't know if it would work better flipped, because then you'd look down towards the right corner and you'd find her there. I think, yeah, possibly it's just about her importance in the shot. So when she's getting on the bus, I don't know if she should be bigger so that you're kind of making the journey with her onto the bus, or I think possibly. I think it's lovely to look at. I just think that maybe the visual storytelling of like the drama of how you get your reader up onto the bus with her and everything. That's it. It's a tweak, and it's, to be honest, it's subjective because it's the difference between this angle and this angle. So, but I think that it's, you know, the rendering's lovely, and I think that second page is amazing. I think, I'm just saying, it looks great.
Okay,
do you not think?
Right, lovely. Thank you. Give him a round of applause. Thank you very much indeed. So next up we have Anne Farron. Give Anne a round of applause. There you go, Anne. Is this your first entry?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of uni.
Oh, right, okay.
Standing in front of the crowd.
No worries, no
Being
worries.
critiqued.
Right. Have a quick look there and tell me what you think.
Right, okay, hello. Right, first thing, it's nice, it's readable. There are a couple of problems which I think you can totally work on.
I already know something.
The trick is that if I tell you something you haven't heard before, that's when you know you're really screwing up. Because otherwise you should know all your faults. But the panel of the bus, there's all the empty space around it could be filled with something else, because it looks like it's
That was my least favourite page.
But the thing is, it's nice and moody, but like I think the contrast between the speech balloon or the text box, the bus, and the highlights are so bright that it makes the rest of it just look flat. Mist or something could do that. You could any old tag, any old trick, even like flies buzzing in the sky, just to kind of like give it something for your eyes to hang on to. I think a lot of the storytelling is very face on, especially like the panel where she's getting on the bus. It's like at shoulder level. When she's talking to the bus driver again, shoulder level. I think you need to just break that up, change like the angles, like from above or from behind. The thing I like most about it though is the second page with all the orange smoke.
That was my favourite page.
Yeah, that's something that Mike pointed out because he liked the composition of it, and I thought, you know what, it's the fact that it's got orange against the blue. It's like that's really popping out. That's like
that was my decision to make a pop.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like the thing with comics is they're using art to convey like aspects of the story, and it's not always like what you're showing. It could be just like the colour insinuating an emotion, and you've clearly got that sensibility. So yeah, I'd certainly go that route.
Thank you.
But yeah, I like the characters' faces. Again, a varied range of emotions. Although I would suggest, given the spooky nature of the story, you could probably add a little bit more spooky shadows to the characters too.
Yeah,
they are quite light and safe.
That's what I'm practicing on.
The trick with doing shadows on faces is you can do them like black shadows, but do them on a slightly different colour.
Yeah.
That way it doesn't screw everything up. But and I like the sound effect of the shunk. That's very nice.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm enjoying seeing which artists have put the door to the bus on which side. So in the other entries, she gets on the right-hand side of the bus, but this is clearly set in England, so you know.
And it's a different bus each time. There's shorter buses, double-deckers.
Oh yeah, of course.
I'm waiting for a cat bus to show up.
I used my uni bus as a reference.
Mike, what's your feelings?
I think the whole kind of feeling is very nice, clean, easy to read. I mean, the colouring. Despite what Fraser was saying, I agree that the first panel is a bit of a big space. Overall, I think it feels really nice, particularly the second page. I think the organisation of the panels is great. It is a kind of stumble, I think, to have to. It is a real problem to figure out with that first big panel, not the ticket panel, but how to frame her and the bus. It's like. if I was handed the script, that's the thing that I would probably spend half a day doing endless iterations of, and it's something that you really have to settle into as a problem to resolve it. And I think also on page 2, I think the arrangement is really good. But I think there's 2 panels where we just see the back of her head, and I feel like it would have been. Yeah, it would have been better if we could see her face on that.
Okay,
yeah. But I think the overall feel of it is great. Which, that's a hard thing to achieve, and that's a hard thing to learn. So to have that is,
Thank you.
That's good stuff.
Leah?
Yeah, I agree with the first one. Although I think, it's hard because if you put a lot of detail in, then you might you don't want to lose the bus in it. You don't want to. It's a hard thing. Nighttime is hard, always hard to balance because you want there to be that contrast. But it's no, I like it. I like the expressions. I like the layout is pretty clear. Yes, back of heads, but I would draw back of heads because they're easier than front of heads. More features and stuff. But no, I love the colours of it. I think the colour palette's lovely. I'm wondering if if the orange is showing menace, then the ticket is orange and the smoke is kind of orange. Then I'm wondering if there's an orange element that you could add in round the bus or something. I don't know, just something to go incoming doom or whatever. Yeah. But no, I really like it. I think it's lovely.
Brilliant. Give Anne a round of applause.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well done. Okay, next up we have Brett. Give Brett a round of applause, everybody. Here we go.
Thank you.
Oh, that is
Thank you.
not your entry.
No.
That one is, though. Excellent.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Good. So is this your first time entering the competition, Brett?
Entered last year.
Yeah.
Got through to this far.
Uh-huh.
Got a lot of good feedback.
Yeah.
But so I'm here again. So I didn't win. Obviously.
Did you learn from the feedback?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah? Definitely. I was told by Matt to clean my inking up, keep an eye on my figure work.
I mean, that's pretty clean inking, to be honest with you. So
I'm back with cleaner inks.
Yeah, good, excellent. Right, we shall start this. Well, I mean, Fraser's poised like a puma, ready to pounce. Do you want to go first again?
Go on then.
Yeah.
Left to right and all that. Yeah, it's really good. I really like the panel layouts, panel page 1 especially. That's really nicely. I like the fact you've got the horizontal of the lamppost, bringing you down, see the bus, and you get the horizontal panels. It's almost like 2 pages in one. Quite like that aspect. Page 2, again, good panel layouts. However, the thing that's bugging me the most is the face on the last panel, because that's such a dramatic shot. I would say that you need to do a little bit more research on how the muscles of the face distort when they put on an extreme expression, because it's such a big money shot. I would have done a hell of a lot more kind of practice trying to find exactly the perfect shot with the things landing in the right place.
Okay.
Because especially I think for me it's like the muscles on the top of her cheeks.
Yeah.
I've had that same problem myself. When I haven't got reference, I just kind of make up a bullshit or put black on it.
Her face was inked about.
Was it?
4 or 5 times I did a crack at her face.
Yeah.
Solids, not sort of downward lighting, upward lighting.
Yeah.
All different, and in the end, even going with all my ref, I just couldn't quite.
In that respect, I know exactly what you mean. In that respect, that's when you just change the angle or you just ditch the idea and try something else. But having said that, it's still good. But that was the only thing that stands out to me. If you've got a big money shot like that, you want to make sure it is as strong as you can get it.
Yep.
But apart from that, very nice clear storytelling, and I quite like the white on black inking.
Thank you.
Mike?
Yeah. Hey, man.
Hiya.
Yeah, I think you've solved the problem of of the big panel on page 1. I think it's really good, and it has a nice sort of illustrational style. It can feel a bit comped together in parts. I think it was noted that there's a lot of Clip Studio and Photoshop work. I think there's not much that we've got here that's traditional media. I presume this is digital. Right?
Yeah, Clip Studio.
Yeah. And sometimes that one of the dangers of working digitally, I think, is that you can see where things have been put in, and the scale of the mark making can change, and it lacks the consistency of traditional media. It's not to say there's anything wrong with Clip Studio, or that but I think it's something to be aware of. It's just the figure, the shot looking down on her in the bus. It feels perspectively that perhaps it's not quite working how it should. And possibly the same with the bus on the big panel as well. I'm not sure. It looks like the bus might be underwater, but I'm not sure. Or like the scale of it is not quite right. It's hard to say, but if something niggles, then that's when you kind of work on it more. Like Fraser was saying about the big face. I mean, I think photo reference would be your saviour there for sure. But I think the overall effect is it's got a lovely, almost Victorian kind of etched feel to it. Yeah.
The end shot, the very last page was futuristic. So I tried to sort of do it as if it was more, I don't know, in the 60s or something like that, to give it an older feel to start with.
Yeah.
So that when you finished and hit that last page, you've got more of a... But obviously we only showed 2 pages.
Yeah. No, it's a bit like Quatermass or something. Yeah, it's got a nice feel to it.
I mean, you have gone for a very classic bus.
Yes.
I like the look of that.
Yeah.
Leah?
I like the first page a lot better than the second one, and I think it gives me the feeling of like the Janice Stark or that kind of. I actually really like all the textures and everything, because I know that they are Clip Studio, but I like the overall.
The textures are Clip Studio, but I have made like the hatching.
Yeah.
They're not straight off the bat. They're marks that I've made and then made brushes from them.
Yeah, you can see that, and it's really. I like it gives it a really identifiable. Like it doesn't look like anything else. Do you know what I mean? It looks like yours, and I really like the use of the ticket at the top, and I like the lighting, and I like the underwateriness, because Manchester. It really is like that. Do you know what I mean? I don't just mean this weekend. I mean but I like the sort of the menace of that first page. I do agree with the second page with the perspective and the face. I think if it was me doing the face, and I don't draw comics, but I'd just pinch one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd find Bride of Frankenstein or somebody where you go. I don't know. But I think that the atmosphere of it is lovely. I think even the other elements. I actually really like the brushstrokes and everything, and I'm dying to see what happens with the crazy space bus bit. So I'm really. Why is it these 2 pages and not the space bus page? But yeah, I like the art on it, and I like the ticket, and I like the way you've used the height of the lamppost and everything, and the detail of it is really evocative for the rest of the story. Not that I know what that is, but yeah. The first page is stronger than the second one, but it might have been. I don't know.
Might have picked up again.
Yeah, the third page. Yeah, and I think the small panels across the top there, I'm not entirely. They don't say different things to each other. Do you know what I mean? They almost could have just been 2 panels. So, but I like I think that the art style is lovely, and I think that
Thank you.
The balance of the first page is fantastic.
Yeah. Fantastic. Give Brett a round of applause. Thank you. Oh, we might have to speed up ever so slightly because we've got a few to go. So up next is Dave. Give him a round of applause. Yeah. You want to hold this? So Dave's a bit nervous, but let's take a quick look at his pages. Let me know your thoughts. Yeah?
I like the inking. It's quite nice and energetic, although I'm finding her face to be a bit of a problem because the expression doesn't seem to do more than have the pupils move around in the eyes, and it's changing the mouth. It looks like she's got the same expression in every panel, which is it kind of works because some people do have the same expression, but in comics you need to convey more. You can't be too realistic about it. But nice and clear. I can read what's going on. Only thing that's really bugging me is her face.
Yeah. Mike?
Yeah, I like the inking as well. I particularly like the second panel on the second page. It's genuinely unsettling, I think. And I like the fact that it feels like we've zoomed in and the brush marks have got bigger and coarser. I think that's a really good shot. Just closing in on the bus driver like that. Just a bit more variation with the face, and maybe it's a question of scale again. Maybe the marks. You've got these big brush marks, and you've got these very small brush marks for the face. So you try and find a way to make it more homogeneous, but homogeneous in a good way, not in the usual crap way. Yeah, good stuff.
Leo.
Yeah, I really love the energy of the brush marks. I love the way it pulls your eye into the middle of the page. I like the blacks. It looks inky. I love the chrome on the bus rails, because I would agree with the faces, but I think that I like that first page with the first panel with the bus being. It looks menacing. I like the way you've done the ticket. I like the size of the lines. I even like the sort of the glowy, smoky stuff. I think it looks great. It's just the faces, I think, for me. I think the rest of it looks boss.
I particularly like the scanned-in bus ticket. Yes. Is that your regular route? Yeah. Also. Right. Brilliant, lovely. We'll give him a round of applause. Thanks very much. Next up is Neil Williams. Oh. And right. Slight technical difficulties here, in that the file that I was using has not saved over that one. So I do apologise.
Everybody lie on your side.
Yeah. Here we go. This is totally the right way to do this. There we go. I mean, that's seamless. That's absolutely seamless. Thank you. My future career in graphic design is definitely not at risk. There's a microphone. Obviously, the panel are seeing the pages as they actually are. Anyone listening, hopefully recording this for the podcast, anyone following along at home will be able to see the pages in all their glory. I do apologise, Neil. Fraser, what do you think of the actual pages that you have in front of you?
Right. I like the inking. I like the way you've got that kind of white smoke thing going on. It's quite solid and everything. That does distinguish it separately from everything else because of the mark making. I'm finding some of the lighting on the face to be a bit awkward, because it looks like she's been referenced for someone who hasn't had any lighting on her face at all, which can work, but then there's that nasty shadow underneath her bottom lip, which says that there should be shadow underneath her nose as well. And it's things like that bug me. Probably won't affect the general reading, but you could work on that. On the second page, I get the feeling that there's an imbalance with some of the heavy black areas. It also like some of the lines need to be a little bit thicker around the heads. Do you know what I mean? It's like just a slight variation in line weight on some of the outlines, because some of the black shapes behind them are quite strong, and so it makes some of the figures look a little bit weedy, especially in panel 1, 2, 3. Panel 4, page 2, on her head. I think just popping the figure out a little bit more with slightly heavier lines around her would kind of like compensate for some of the black shadows down below. Little things like that, because that can be easily fixed just by changing the way you do outlines. But yeah, other than that, it's very clear, nice and readable. It's good stuff.
Hey man, I think this is another. I think it's another one where the first page is better than the second page. But I think the big panel on page 1 is really nice. And I think the overall inking, the choices of between black and white are particularly on that first page, I think are pretty solid. On the last two panels, there's kind of, because she has a similar expression and she's looking in a similar direction, it feels a bit like she's almost cloned herself. I mean, I literally just did this in a comic, and then it took me ages to sit. Oh no, this is, what have I done? And it's that's the only reason I'm thinking of it. It might be okay.
In the last 4 pages, there's a lot more variation in the way they're interacting with each other. But
Yeah, absolutely. But I think you have a sort of job to provide the reader with kind of variation and novelty. They're easily bored.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, though.
Thanks. Leah?
Yeah, I think it's a lovely style, and I think it's really, that first panel is beautiful with the house and I like the balance of the black and white. I think, the brightness of the inside of the bus feels a bit, I don't know if it's less menacing. I think the thing that popped me out of it was just that her face is the same on those 3 panels. So this, I wasn't bothered by the chin shadow, or I was sort of into it. And then I think basically just a little bit of variation on her face would have been. But no, I think definitely I would love to see more. I really, really love the exterior of that, because a lot of our people would just leave out the architecture, but I think it puts you in the place. So yeah, I think
Cool, thanks. Fantastic. Give Neal a round of applause. Thank you.
Really nice.
Next up is Norm. Go on, give him a round. There you go. Do you want to hold on to that while I try and compensate for a laptop that I want to chuck out the window?
Nice, collage.
Oh, no, wrong one. No, come on. Here we go. You get the picture, don't you? That's been my weekend, basically. It's just this goddamn computer. You've got the pages in front of you. You can see the original artwork. Let us know what you think. Fraser.
Right, I really like it. 2 things, though, because we're keeping it brief. Page 2, panels 3 and 4, it looks, again, it's just got the very duplicate facial expressions. A bit of variety in it, unless there's an actual point for having the same facial expression. I think it'd be really worth your while kind of avoiding things like that. Because it's the same angle, same kind of it's almost like it's 2 panels, which should be 1. And the other one is panel 1 on the first page with the bus. I really like it, it's beautiful, but the figure is blending a little bit into the shadows on the bus, possibly because of the same colours or something. Anything like outline or a bit of mist or something, just to pop her out a little bit, would make that page significantly better. But it is still beautiful in its own right. But other than that, it's lovely. Nice to see painted artwork again.
Thank you. It's quite Will Simpson-ish, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mike.
Yeah, I love the just atmosphere, because that's something that painted artwork can achieve more directly than kind of inked artwork. Maybe there's on the first page on the big panel there is a bit of empty space there, so it does seem like that would have been fortuitous to maybe shove the bus out into that so she could kind of pop out a bit more compositionally. I like the variation on the first page. But yeah, again, I think the second page, it's a trick. It's how do you keep the variety while you're in this small space, and you need to include background details, but also you might have an inclination to do a close-up. So what do you do? How do you? And again, it's this thing that you sort out in the layout stage. I think when that's where all the time and the hard intellectual work goes in. But I think But I like the last panel, the directness of it. I think I think you make it work. So good stuff.
Thank you, Leah.
Yeah, I like the warm and the cold colours. I like I really like her face on the ones where she has got the different expressions. I really like how you've done it. I think she looks really like a person, and I think the inside of the bus feels like sort of warm and smelly the way the buses are. Yeah. But it's. Yeah, I would agree. I think I quite like that first panel. I see what you mean about it not exactly popping, but I like the feeling that it's lit up inside and bearing down on her and everything. But yeah, a little bit of something to bring her out. But no, I really love the painted. It's beautifully done. It is.
Fantastic. Thanks. Round of applause for Norm. Thank you. Cheers. Next up on the sideways challenge. Oh no! Look at. He's just doing it to mock me now. We have Phillip. A round of applause. There we go. You have been blessed by my laptop. Okay, let's have a look at those. Back to black and white. Fraser, what do you think?
Right, it's nice and clear. However, there's a couple of things that are really, really bugging me. Panel 1, first of all, she's given a V sign to the floor. Yeah, that's not how you sold a cigarette. Okay. And secondly, that tangent on the first finger against the edge of the bench, can you see it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that has to stop. You have to get rid of it. As soon as you see that, just get the white out and get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because that might go straight there. The last panel, the figure with the holding the ticket up, that side profile thing is again, it's one of the things I think you can get some reference for that, because it looks like she's got her face just wiped off her head. That's a bit odd. Other than that, though, especially I like the panel with on the second page with the interior of the bus and the perspective. To me, that is a killer panel. That's the one that wins out of all of it. Solve the other problems and think more about the bus, the solidity of it, and it's all right.
Brilliant, thank you.
Yeah, it is. I think Fraser's right on that bottom panel. Like, I feel like we ought to see the tip of her nose, maybe. Either way, some work on that would be good. But the bus driver himself and the way he's framed and with his head down and inclined towards her, I think that's really good. I mean, I think that's the winner, actually, Fraser. Yeah.
Fight over it. Still.
The perspective looking through the bus, I feel like that's a classic horror shot somehow. That behind the character's head, symmetrically framed. I think there's really good choices in there, but a bit of work on the figure stuff would be great. Yeah.
Thank you,
Leah.
Yeah, I agree. I think the long shot with her in the bus and I love the little sound effects of the windows, because you hear them happening one after another, and it's like, and the bus seems to go on forever, and that's really cool. That's proper.
Oh, it's like a pull focus.
Yeah, exactly, like a shotgun zoom thing. And I love the thunk. Your FX are good. They're amazing.
Lovely. Thanks very much. Round of applause for Phillip. Thank you. Down to the last two. We will have to be quick with these, I'm afraid. Oh, again, look at that. Wow. Incredible. Robin. Round of applause for Robin, please. There we go. Is this your first time on the competition?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. Let's crack on. Leah, what do you think?
I really love it. I think they stand out as really well balanced in the blacks and whites and greys, and I think that the shot choices and her expression and the atmosphere is really well balanced. There's not one bit of it it looks like a proper page of proper.
Cheers.
Mike.
Same. I think it's really solid compositionally. Like the middle panel of the second page, choosing to frame her, or between the middle of the three windows. It's rock solid composition. I wonder if the bus could pop a bit more on the first panel. I think it's such an important panel that I think I might be becoming slightly obsessed with that. I might have to go home and start drawing it myself. But just if it could just kind of pop a bit more. Okay. It's there if you're close reading, but I mean, I think overall.
I like the headlights looking like little menacing eyes.
Yeah, well, that's it. Cool. Eventually, the headlights will make you recognise what it is. Overall, solid. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fraser?
I can't actually say anything bad about it, so I'm just going to say I really like the smoke that goes, the stylised smoke in the second panel of the bus, and the middle row of the second page. That's a really nice stylistic thing that I keep coming back to. We need more of that in comics, less realism, more kind of design and illustration. But apart from that, composition is top, facial expressions are there, it reads perfectly. I don't really have anything bad to say.
Fantastic. Round of applause for Robin. Thank you. And last we have Sinclair. There we go. I've got those two definitely the wrong way around. There we go. There you go, Sinclair. So, last entry. have a quick look. Let me know what you think.
I really like the jacket. That looks awesome.
Fraser?
Yeah, it's a really nice drawing. However, I think there's a lack of variety and a depth. I kind of have to concentrate a little bit. It would benefit from having colour to separate the foreground and the backgrounds. Although you could solve that with a few line weight issues, like the big figure on the second page. If you just made the outline around it a little bit thicker, she'd pop out from the rest of it because it's kind of same line weights. Other than that, yeah, it's very nicely drawn. I like the hand coming out in front of the bus. Although I'd stick the fingers out an extra like half a centimetre. But apart from that, that's a really nice touch. But yeah, it's good stuff. Just work on the line weights a bit more.
Sure, yeah, thanks.
Mike?
Yeah, it's got a lot of energy all the way across the page. I think the inking's really keeping it lively, which is great. Yeah, I think depth is a thing. It's quite claustrophobic, which can be a choice, but I think occasionally, because we're kind of hit with the bus, like kind of front on, but then I think also, occasionally we just need to be able to breathe a bit and see more into the background, more into the space.
Sure.
Just so we know where we are and what's going on. But yeah, it's got a lovely feel to it.
It's really interesting to see the way that all the entries have dealt with that last panel on the first page differently. So where you've got to show both the bus driver and the person getting onto the bus. Yeah. Like where you've got two people facing each other, that's a really difficult composition to get right. So it's been interesting to see how people have done. But any more comments, Leah?
No, I like it. I think it's really well drawn. I think the only thing that sticks out is the second page. There's less blacks, and yeah, like Fraser said about that figure in the middle, the biggest panel. So I think maybe, I don't know if it means that we need more blacks or just the balance of the second page is just slightly off from the first. But I think it's really well drawn, and yeah, the jacket's awesome.
Right.
Fantastic. A round of applause to Sinclair. Thank you. So that is all the entries for the art competition. Judges, will you please confer and choose your favourite one? Now, while they're gathering away, thank you to every single contestant who hasn't just been selected for this panel, but also came along to the portfolio session yesterday. Hope you got really good feedback, both from the panel here and from Matt Smith, the editor of 2000 AD. As I said, the prize is actually getting to draw a Future Shock for 2000 AD and be paid for it, which is the most important thing. In all likelihood, the winner of this art competition will draw the winner of yesterday's script competition, which was excellent and very well attended, and we're very, very pleased that this process continues to find new talent for 2000 AD and Rebellion Comics. Cool, you're really thinking about this, aren't you? All right. Yeah, we turn them off so that they can't hear you. Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, you made a decision. So Mike's back on, please.
Mike's on.
Could you tell us who the winner? The name should be on the back, by the way.
Robin Henley, you have won.
Oh, congratulations. We'll have a chat afterwards about getting in touch. Again, thank you so much to everyone who's taken part in the panel, and a huge round of applause for our judges. It's not an easy decision to make. So, what?
You should put Robin's art.
Oh, yeah.
In
Oh,
case
hang
people
on.
have forgotten who it is.
Definitely a thing I can do quickly, Mike.
I would like to say as well, well done to all of you for having the balls to actually have your art critiqued live in front of a big audience full of people, because I would absolutely die if it was me. So, well done.
Yeah, absolutely. It is purely because I feed on fear. So, anyway, until next year, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And congratulations to Robin for her victory in the 2000 AD art competition at Thought Bubble. Both she and Liam will be appearing in a future edition of the Galaxy's Greatest Comic. More talent for the thrill mill. So thank you to everybody who entered both the script and the art competitions. It's great to see people still engaging with these competitions. Again, the standard this year was really high. We're really pleased with the winners. That's it from the 2000 AD Thrillcast. Hope you enjoyed those two panels. We shall see you in 2 weeks' time for more from the Galaxy's Greatest, more from me. I'm sure you'll be delighted. Until such time, Earthlets, Gaffelbeck greetings and Splundig Verthrig.
Alert! Alert! Fill power levels dangerously high. Alert! Alert! Read 2000 AD every week. Ask your comic book store or newsagent now. Subscribe to the Galaxy's Greatest Comic at 2000adonline.com. Subscribe digitally on our apps for Apple, Android, and Windows 10. And download DRM free copies from 2000adonline.com. Alert! Alert! Stand by for urgent updates. Search for 2000AD on Twitter and Facebook. Watch the latest videos at youtube.com/2000AD online. And follow on Instagram at Insta2000AD. Program complete. Shutting down.